Topic 11, Lesson 7, Ordering Fractions. Well, so far you've learned how to find equivalent fractions. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to use equivalent fractions to compare and order fractions. Our standard is to compare two fractions with different numerators and different denominators by creating common denominators or numerators, or by comparing a benchmark fraction such as 1/2, and recognize that comparisons are valid only when the two fractions refer to the same whole. And we record the results of comparisons with symbols greater than, equal to, or less than, and justify the conclusion by using a visual fraction model. For mathematical practices, we're going to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. We're going to reason abstractly and quantitatively. We're going to construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. Look for and make use of structure, and look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. Our focus is how can you use equivalent fractions to compare and order fractions. Let's take a look. Max skated 2/5 of a mile, and Carlos skated 3/5 of a mile, and Pedro skated 1/2 mile. Write these distances in order from least to greatest. So the three fractions we have are 2/5, 3/5, 1/2, and we need to put them in order from least, that is the smallest, to the greatest, which is the biggest. Now, one of the ways we can do that is by looking at maybe these charts here, using these rectangles and making our own fractions. So for example, you can see the first one, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. The second one, same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And obviously they're not exactly perfect, but for our purposes they're definitely going to work. And then the bottom one is in 2 pieces. So if we go back and we look, the first one is 2/5. So let's go ahead and color in 2/5. So this is 1 and this is 2. So this would be our 2/5 area. Let's go ahead and label that 2/5. And our next one is 3/5, so it's going to be 3 of these. And we'll go ahead and shade these in. And let's go ahead and label this 3/5. And then the other one is 1/2. So we just need to shade in half of this part, this hole. So we have 3 holes here, and they're equal the same holes, so that's the way we can compare it. And let's go ahead and label this 1/2. So all 3, this one, and this one, are exactly the same in total length, but they were split up or divided into different parts. The first one into 5 parts, the second one into 5 parts, and then the last one into 2 parts. So from here, we can actually make our order. So which one is the least? Well, 2/5 is. You can just see right here, it has the smallest shaded area. The next one, 1/2. And then finally 3/5, because it goes all the way to here. So let's take a look at it a different way. We could actually go ahead and find equivalent denominators. Get a common denominator for all of them. And the easiest way to do that is to look at our denominators and what do they have in common. And sometimes finding the multiples of them really makes a big difference. So if I were to look at 5s, I could say 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15. And then if I look at 2s, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 5 is 10. And what do they have in common? Well, they both have 10. So my question is, how do I make if I need to make the denominator 10, what do? Well, 5 times 2 equals 10. And whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the top. So 2 times 2 is 4. Same thing down here. 5 times 2 equals 10. And whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the top. And I get 6/10. Now I take a look at the 2. I want to make the denominator 10 as well. How do I do that? Well, 2 times 5 equals 10. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the top, and I get 5/10. So now I can easily see I have 4/10, 6/10, and 5/10. Which one's the smallest? Well, this one is the smallest, right here. The next one would be 5/10, and the last one would be 6/10. So our order would be 2/5 is less than 1/2, which is less than 3/5. So if we put them in order, we have 3/5, 1/2, and 3/5. How'd you do? All right. Well, now try some on your own. Good luck.